Hello everyone, this is part 20 of What If Naruto Had Two Bloodlines, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. Naruto, I knew that I knew you. You're that old hermit that I met in the woods that night. But who'd have guessed that you were such a huge pervert? Not so loud, kid, if you keep quiet then I'll tell you who I am, the perverted old hermit whispered. I am Yaboku Mountain's monk of the frog spirits, Jiraiya, also known as the frog sage, remember it. Naruto, sage. He doesn't look much like a sage. I always thought that a sage was a really old guy with a really long beard, placing his finger to his chin. Naruto began to think of what a typical sage would look like. He pictured the guy with a long wizard's beard, then with a wizard's pointy hat, then bald without the hat, and then bald with the hat. Jiraiya, hey, what's your deal, kid? Waving his hand in Naruto's face. Naruto, what? Anyway, what did you do to this guy, you pervy sage? He's supposed to be training me. Jiraiya, it's because he got in the way of my work. Naruto, work. Jiraiya, I'm a writer and I'm working on a novel, he said as he pulled out a book with the TLE, Come Paradise. Naruto, that stupid book. That's. Jiraiya, oh, you know about this. Guess it's pretty popular. Naruto, I know about that disgusting book. Anyway, what the hell do you mean by work? All you were doing was peeping into the women's bath, you old pervert. In the background women's screams could be heard and some even ran out of the bathhouse. Jiraiya, you fool. I am not just a pervert. Peeping gives me inspiration to write a better. Naruto, you liar. What a lame excuse. Now what the hell are you gonna do about my training? Jiraiya, training. Are you talking about that water walking? Naruto, you know about it. Then take responsibility and help me with my training. Jiraiya, yeah right, I hate disrespectful and rude brats. And I don't like being around men. Naruto, you know, that Come Paradise is so cool. Jiraiya, liar, this book is only for adults. Compliments will get you nowhere with me. The old hermit could see Naruto preparing to do a jutsu and chuckled. There was nothing he could do that would work against him. Naruto, how about this? See jutsu. Naruto transformed into a beautiful, blue-eyed girl with long blonde pigtails and his trademark whiskered cheeks, who just happened to be N. The old pervert proved just how much of a pervert he was by saying, Jiraiya, I like you. A big puddle of drool formed at his feet. Naruto, what, is this village filled with perverts? From my grandpa to Iruka-sensei to Kakashi-sensei to Ebisu-sensei and now this idiot. Jiraiya, wow, just my type of girl. Those beautiful eyes, that cute hairstyle, that oh so cute expression on your face, your nice frame, those nice legs, the cute little tail, and those luscious melons. What is this wonderful jutsu? Naruto, I call it my, jutsu, but. Jiraiya, oh, what creativity. You're a genius. Naruto, there's something seriously wrong with this village, it's full of perverts. Naruto, then, you'll help with my training. Showing off Hisout or a big blue eyes and full pouty lips. Jiraiya, yes, but there's a condition. Naruto, condition, what? Big blue anime eyes. The perverted sage took a moment to collect himself and his thoughts. He then creepily turned around to Naruto. Naruto, oh, I have a bad feeling about this, sweating nervously. Jiraiya, in my presence, you must always be like that. Naruto was shocked. He expected something 10 times as worse to come from this pervert. Though it wasn't as horrifying as he thought it would be, he quickly dispersed the jutsu and pointed out just how perverted the old hermit was. Jiraiya, no, it's not true. I'm not a pervert. Naruto, yeah right. Then what are you? Jiraiya, I'm a super pervert. There was nothing but silence as Naruto looked at the old guy like he was out of his mind. Jiraiya, hey, that was just a joke. Don't look at me as if I'm crazy, I'll overlook your training. Just continue what you were doing earlier. Naruto quickly ran over to the hot spring he was training at and began to walk across the water. He made it nearly halfway before he began to slowly sink. He tried to right himself but it was no use, he was doomed to boil. He made his way out of the spring and began to sts down to his boxes. As he did, the self-proclaimed sage asked him to use his chakra once more. Naruto did so and a seal appeared on his belly. Jiraiya, so this is the Ninetales seal method, 2, 4 elephant seals, a double seal, maybe the hacker seal method. It's set up so some chakra of the Ninetales slips out from between the seals and combines with the kid's chakra. It's to protect the kid, right? But that has been stopped by a 5-part seal, even and odd seal methods on top of each other. This makes his and the Ninetales' chakra unable to mix. No wonder he can't control chakra well. Most likely, another person did this one. The style is rough, looks like Orochimaru's work. He asked Naruto to come closer while he built chakra around his fingers. He then asked Naruto to stick his arms in the air, which he did. Jiraiya, 5-part, unseal. He jammed his hand into Naruto's gut in a similar fashion to how Orochimaru did in the Forest of Death. Naruto was surprised and now winded. Before he even had the chance to catch his breath, he was asked to try and walk across the water. He slowly picked himself up and cautiously took his first step onto the surface of the water. He was surprised to find that he wasn't sinking even the slightest bit. It seemed so easy now. His chakra sensing ability had even returned, well, at least a little. Jiraiya, it's about time he was taught how to control the Ninetales' chakra. He offered to teach Naruto a new technique which Naruto was more than happy to hear. Jiraiya, first, there's something I need you to understand. You have 2 types of chakra. Have you ever felt a special chakra? Naruto thought long and hard, but he recalled a couple of times when his chakra felt different, and so did he. Hearing this, the hermit made plans for them to meet up the next day so that they could continue. That night, Dosu tried to ambush Gaara, but he was caught. He decided that since he couldn't get Gaara as he slept, it would be best to just fight him now. His real goal, eliminate the compassion so that he could have a better chance of facing Sasuke. He would start with Gaara. This, however, was not a good idea as Dosu witnessed a terrifying sight, his last. In the moonlight, Gaara's form began to stretch and grow to monstrous proportions. In the blink of an eye, Dosu had been crushed. Once it was over, the Sand Team's sensei, Baki, was approached by a shadowy figure. It turned out to be Kabuto, and the two discussed the plan to destroy the leaf. While all this went on, in the shadows lurked Hayate, listening in. Hearing all he needed, Hayate hurried to inform the Hokage. Before he could, however, he was confronted by Baki. Having no choice, Hayate had to fight. Ebisu had finally regained consciousness and sought out the very man that knocked him out in the first place. He found him on the rooftop of one of the many buildings. Jiraiya, sorry about that, Ebisu, taking your pupil from you. Ebisu, not at all. I was just surprised. Lord Hokage has been looking for you for a long time without even a trace. Nobody expected you to be in this village. So, is it because of Orochimaru? Jiraiya, no, sorry, but that isn't why. I just came here to work on my novels. I'm the type that doesn't like to stick my N into trouble. Ebisu, you must understand too, that against one of the legendary 3 ninjas, Orochimaru, another of the 3 is needed. We need your strength, Master Jiraiya. The next day, Naruto and the hermit were in the woods preparing to train. It was slow coming as the old pervert was busy watching some girls play in the nearby river. Eventually, he got to Naruto and asked him to try and release the odd chakra that he had. Naruto tried but could only pull out his usual chakra. Jiraiya, seems like Naruto hasn't realized yet that that other chakra is the chakra of the Ninetales. Well, from what he's told me, it seems that personal danger or heightened emotions are the key to calling forth the Ninetales' chakra. He then informed Naruto that the technique he would be using would require more chakra than his normal amount. It could become his greatest weapon, so letting it go to waste would be a huge mistake. The best thing for Naruto to do would be to train to release the highest amount of chakra possible and use it to its capacity. This way he could use tons of techniques and jutsus like summoning jutsu. Naruto, summoning. Jiraiya, yeah. You sign a contract in blood with various life forms and call them forth with ninjutsu when needed. It's one type of space-time ninjutsu. Naruto became excited and couldn't wait to learn it, but before he could, he would have to deplete his normal chakra. In order to do this, Naruto began with some sparring with a boatload of clones and followed up with water walking. While he did this, Jiraiya got back to his research. Once Naruto was done and nearly drowned, Jiraiya finally decided to go on and teach him the summoning jutsu. First he would show him how. He bit his thumb and drew blood. He then wiped the blood on the palm of his left hand and slammed it on the ground. Jiraiya, summoning jutsu. A giant frog appeared underneath him in a peculiar pose with his feet planted and his hands out and up like Jiraiya when they met at the bathhouse. It was the frog from the day before as well, and he handed Naruto a giant scroll from its mouth. Jiraiya, this is the contract with the toads that has been passed down through many generations. Naruto, toads. No offense, I'm sure toads are great, but don't you have something better, like dogs, or monkeys, or dragons? Can you summon dragons? Starry-eyed. Jiraiya, no, dragons, you can't summon dragons, even if I could, there'd be no way that you could summon one, at least not yet. Naruto, oh man, pouting, fine, I guess I'll make do with the toads. Jiraiya, good decision, now you're to write your name in blood, and under that press your fingerprint in blood, then, when you want to call them, produce chakra and place down the hand you signed the contract with. The hand seals are boar, dog, bird, monkey, and sheep. Naruto signed the contract as directed and was told to try summoning something. He did the proper seals and Naruto, summoning jutsu, slamming his right hand down. When the smoke cleared, it wasn't big but it was a tadpole. Hey, it laid on the rooftop a bloody mess. The crows had come to claim his body, but he found before he became unrecognizable. Afterwards gathered leaf tunins and junins, and the third Hokage revealed this terrible news. The next topic was the possibility of betrayal among the Leaf's allies. Since verbal contracts hadn't done much to prevent any previous wars, this was very likely. If push came to shove, the Leaf would gather all of its strength and fight. 15 days later, Naruto had managed to summon larger and larger toads over this period of time, but it was slow going. Jiraiya, well, his progress is kind of slow, but at least he isn't getting any worse. Once more. Kakashi was climbing a cliff with one hand tied behind his back. He opened the first gate and hurled himself to the top, where he met Kakashi. Sasuke, so you're finally here. Meanwhile, Sakura and Ino were moping around the hospital because Sasuke had gone missing. They then heard a female nurse pleading with someone to stop what they were doing, so they checked it out. Lee was in the courtyard doing push-ups while writhing in pain. They all watched as Lee pushed his body to the breaking point. He could no longer hold out and collapsed, falling unconscious. The nurse ran to get a stretcher and Ino and Sakura watched over Lee. Ino could see how worried Sakura was over all of this. Sakura, hey Ino, why do boys try so hard? Ino, why are you asking me? I'm a girl too. Sakura, sorry. Naruto, YEEEESSS. Naruto had managed to summon a toad the size an average dog. He was happy about it, but Jiraiya was convinced that it was all hopeless. It had now been 3 weeks and Naruto was no longer making any progress. All of the toads and frogs and even tadpoles had remained around the same size. To make things worse, he wasn't receiving any kind of direction from his teacher who spent all his time watching women play in the nearby river. Naruto was exhausted and couldn't even keep his eyes open. He tried to get the perverted hermit's attention but passed out. Jiraiya, he collapsed again. Can't blame him, these 21 days of training, it's like he's continuing on guts alone, pulling out and using a large amount of Ninetales chakra when desired. It's true that this control is difficult. His body is also too small a container to hold the Ninetales' chakra. Most likely, the power of the Ninetales is kept in check to prevent bodily harm, but, if heightened emotion or personal danger is the key to releasing the Ninetales' chakra, I'll have his body learn how to use that key. Forgive me. Looking up. Jiraiya scooped Naruto up off the ground and walked off. He carried him for a great while before he finally began to stir. Jiraiya, the training ends today. If you don't want to then figure it out yourself. Before Naruto could say a word, he was tossed into a crevice. He began to fall at great speed. His descension was so fast that he couldn't even grasp any of the jagged points of the walls. He continued to fall and fall. Naruto found himself in a watery tunnel. As he made his way through, he began to feel a familiar ominous presence. He soon found himself in front of a giant cage and behind it. "Kit, come closer," a huge voice said from behind the cage. Suddenly giant claws were thrust at Naruto. Luckily the cage was too small to allow such a thing. "Damn, I wanted to eat you, but this damn seal." "Naruto, you're the Ninetales. I get it, that red chakra, it must have been his chakra. Kyuubi, for you to come here, what do you want? Perhaps you want to be respectful and finally release me from this prison." "Naruto, as if you stupid fox. I'm letting you stay in my body so, instead of rent, you can make yourself useful by lending me your chakra." Kyuubi, GWAHAHAHAHA, very well, but only because if you is too. For you to threaten me like this, you must have guts. This is a gift for coming this far. The water at Naruto's feet began to turn dark and bubble. It soon began to wrap itself around him and Naruto was still plummeting to his death, but his eyes were red instead, and he had the same feeling he got whenever the Ninetales chakra was in effect. He bit his thumb and used the hand signs he was told. He placed his hand under himself and below him appeared the biggest toad he had ever seen. The toad had caught himself and acted as a cushion for Naruto. Naruto was elated that he had summoned something so big and saved his life in doing so. Jiraiya peers into the crevice. It looks like he was able to pull out the Ninetales' chakra himself this time, though it's not stable yet. He used too much of that huge chakra, and of all the possibilities he summoned, even I can't completely control that one, that Gamabunter. Gamabunter, you lil punk. Whatcha doing on my head? I finally get some fresh air and, what the hell is this? Hey punk, where's Jiraiya? Naruto, Jiraiya, ha, who? Gamabunter, that perverted old geezer, calling me to such a place. Even putting some weird punk on my head, what the hell kind of joke is this? Naruto, actually, I summoned you, I thought you could help. Gamabunter, Gaha, you shouldn't lie punk, there's no way in hell a lil punk like you could summon me. Gaha ahahaha. Naruto, you stupid toad. How dare you say things like that? Nearly passing out, I'm the one WHO summoned you, so I'm your master. Got that, ya stupid toad. Once the last word left his mouth, Naruto knew that he would regret it. For one, the huge size difference. Then there was the fact that he had very little chakra left. He was ready to pass out but could see that the giant toad had more to say. Gamabunter, who the hell do you think you're talking to? Hey, some little kid is saying that he's the master of Boss Toad Gamabunter. You want your puny little head sped off, eh? He bobbed his head up and down, nearly throwing Naruto off. Naruto, I'm sorry, Boss Toad, what's with this thing? That pervy sage never said there were things like this. Bunter, well, I guess we should calm down. How about I make you my underling? You should be thankful. Naruto wearily nodded his head in agreement. Meanwhile, Jiraiya was laughing his ass off at the exchange between the two. He then decided that it was best to get going while the going was good, but he never thought that he would be meeting his old friend so soon. Gamabunter wrapped Naruto with his tongue and leapt from the crevice and landed not too far away from Jiraiya. Bunter, Jiraiya. I'm gonna. The contract on the ground caught his eye and changed his focus. As he street USD, he noticed that a new name had recently been added. Bunter, so what this kid was saying is true, damn you Jiraiya, but I guess this kid is more impressive than he looks. It's been a while since anyone has ridden on my head. He seems to be out of strength from summoning me. I guess I could share some of my power, but taking him to a hospital would be best. In one great leap, Gamabunter arrived at the Leaf Hospital and left Naruto in front of the building as he disappeared. The force of his landing surprised everyone in the vicinity and attracted their attention to the now unconscious Naruto. A few days later, the time for everyone to finish their preparations was quickly winding down, and many of the participants in the finals were hustling to complete their training or recuperations. They were all doing the best they could. Temari was in a part of the many woodland areas of the Leaf Village blowing over trees with her fan. Kankuro was polishing his weapons and performing a maintenance check on his puppet. Gaara appeared to be silently brooding to himself. Shino was training with his sensei, Kurenai, one-on-one to better sharpen his SKS. Sasuke was enduring a grueling training regimen due to Kakashi's instructions. Shikamaru had been through training but was in the hospital visiting a friend. And Naruto. Naruto awake to the sound of pages turning and what appeared to be a hospital room. He groggily sat up and saw Shikamaru sitting next to the bed reading a book. Shikamaru, hey, you finally awake. Naruto, yawns, what's going on? Shikamaru, apparently you overdid it with your training. They said you'd been asleep for 3 days. Naruto, where's the old perverted sage? Shikamaru, how would I know? The truth is I came here to see Chuji and they said you were sleeping here, so. Naruto, his injuries were that serious. Shikamaru, no, he just ate too much meat after his fight that he ended up with unbearable stomach pains, reaching down. Shikamaru had picked up a fruit basket. Naruto saw this and noticed that he was surrounded by baskets. Shikamaru picked a bright red apple and tossed it to Naruto and grabbed one for himself. Shikamaru, so, do you think you're gonna eat all this fruit? Naruto, come to think of it, I am pretty hungry, but you didn't have to go to all this trouble and. Shikamaru, these aren't from me, I was asking because you have so many and I was thinking of giving one to Chuji. It'd be a lot simpler just to take one of these. Naruto, if you didn't bring these, then who did? Shikamaru, well, I heard from Ino that Sakura had been coming to the hospital for the past few days bringing flowers and a couple of baskets of fruit, but with you only being here for 3 days, the unusual number of baskets that she would have had to carry, and the fact that she's also been visiting Lee, I'd say that a few of these are from someone else. Naruto, well I wonder who else brought the others. Shikamaru, come to think of it, I saw Hinata leaving this room just before I got here. Perhaps. Naruto, it's alright with me if you take one, but just one, I'm so hungry that I could eat a horse. Shikamaru, thanks a lot. The only bad thing is, the doc said that it may be a while before he's allowed to eat solid foods. Naruto, then why do you want one? Shikamaru, I just didn't want to show up empty-handed. I wouldn't be a very good friend if I did that. Naruto began to chuckle and suggested that since Chuji couldn't eat solid foods, they should go to his room and eat the fruit in front of him. Shikamaru agreed, but before the two could leave, the door creaked open. Lee laid in his bed peacefully resting. The door slid open and there stood Sakura. She had come for her daily visit. She brought in a flower in a glass vase and placed it on the nightstand next to the bed. Since he was sleeping, Sakura decided to check up on Naruto and see if he was finally awake. She opened the door but there was someone standing there. Kiba, yo, what's up Naruto? Shikamaru. Akamaru barks as they enter. Naruto, Kiba, what are you doing here? Kiba, we heard you had been hospitalized, so we decided to pay you a visit. I would have brought the rest of the team but, Shino and Kurenai sensei are training, and Hinata had already been here and was the one that told me that you were here. Naruto, Hinata was here. Kiba, yes. Naruto was about to move on to another basket when he came to one that didn't have fruit as delectable as the first. He looked at the fruits in the basket and noticed that it didn't have the same luster and allurement as the previous. Shikamaru, that must be one of the ones that Sakura brought, she must have gotten it at a store or something. I gotta say, it just doesn't have the same appeal as some of the others. The fruit in the basket hadn't gone bad or anything, it just was as enchanting as the Hyuga's homegrown fruit. Naruto, Snickers, hey guys, you know what would be funny? If we went and ate the really good fruit in front of Chuji, we give him a taste of the good fruit and then we give him this basket, holding up Sakura's basket. Kiba, yeah, he'll be totally disappointed. Shikamaru, knowing him, he'll probably eat through as many baskets as it takes to try and find another good one, then he'll probably have to have his stomach pumped, looks at the two smiling boys, let's do it. They tried some fruits from some of the baskets before they found the other ones they were looking for. Slipping one of the better samples into one of the poor baskets, they were off. Ino had arrived at the hospital with a basket of fruit of her own. She was there to visit Chuji and brighten his day. Even though he was in the hospital, at least he would get a visit from a pretty girl, and with food no less. She made her way to his room and since she knew that Sakura was visiting Lee and Naruto, she decided to pop into their rooms as well. Sakura opened the door and there stood a figure right in front of her. It was Gaara. She was horrified to say the least. She slowly backed into the room and he followed her in. He seemed to be mumbling to himself like he was trying to figure something out. Gaara, why? He pulled the cork from his gourd and sand began to pour out as he inched his way towards Sakura and the sleeping Lee. Sakura shut her eyes as tight as she could as he raised his hand in a familiar fashion. She reopened them to the sight of Gaara standing as still as a statue. Out of the shadows came Naruto, who punched Gaara across the face. For some unexplained reason Shikamaru had the same reaction to the punch as well. Sakura, Naruto, what are you doing here, you bastard? Shikamaru, hey, Naruto, while I'm using my shadow possession jutsu, I move the same as him. With the force of that punch, I'm surprised that you didn't break both of our NS, or at least mine. Naruto, sorry. Shikamaru turns back to Gaara, so, answer me, what are you up to? Gaara, I was going to K them. Everyone was shocked to hear this. He said it so calmly, so cold-heartedly. Shikamaru, why would you need to do that? They haven't done anything to you. Do you have some personal grudge? Gaara, I do not. I'm going to K them just because I want to. Naruto, what the hell are you saying? Bastard. Gaara, if you get in my way, I'll K you too, especially, you two. He looked at Naruto and Kiba with his cold eyes. Sakura was beginning to worry. No one knew what to do. Naruto, what? Go ahead and try. Kiba, what the hell are you saying? Did you forget how he nearly crushed me with his sand during the prelims? Shikamaru, hey, let's all just calm down. Thinks, this guy is messed up. I'll try and bluff him. We know from your fight that you're pretty strong, but we're not too bad ourselves, and we didn't even show our full strength in the prelims. Plus, it's 3-on-1, so you're at a disadvantage. If you listen to what we say, we'll let you leave quietly. Gaara, I'll say it again, if you get in my way, I'll K you, coldly. Shikamaru, what's your problem? Gaara, him, he's the only one that's ever hurt me, he's the one I want to K, and the other, I just want to finish what I started. Akamaru whimpered and Kiba began to feel really uncomfortable, like being mauled by a pack of hungry wolves. Uncomfortable. Naruto, I won't be ked by the likes of you. Shikamaru, I told you to cool it. He's some kind of monster, don't you understand that? Naruto, hey, I have a real monster in me, I won't lose to the likes of him. Shikamaru couldn't help but worry for their lives, especially since Naruto kept poking at an obvious bloodthirsty psycho. Gaara, a monster, then it's the same for me. I had a messed up childhood, born into the world by taking the life of the woman I would have called my mother, to become the ultimate shinobi. My father attached the incarnation of sand upon me through ninjutsu. I was born a monster. Called Shukaku, it was sealed within a kettle, once the living spirit of an old hidden sand priest. Shikamaru, a possession jutsu that allows one to be possessed before birth. To go that far, that's crazy. Naruto, he also has something in him. I had a feeling, but I thought that I was mistaken. I thought that it was nothing more than a large chakra signature. Shikamaru, hey, that's something a parent does. What a strange expression of love. Gaara, love. Don't judge me with your measuring stick. Family, you wanna know what kind of connection that is to me? It's simply pieces of trash, connected to me with mouse intent and hatred. By sacrificing my mother's life, I was created as the village's greatest weapon as the Kazekige's son. My father taught me the shinobi secrets and I was spoiled and allowed to do as I pleased. I thought that was love, until. Sakura, until what? Naruto, what happened? Gaara, for the last 6 years since I was 6 years old, my own father tried countless times to assassinate me. Gaara had gotten a crazed look on his face. The longer it stayed there, the more it freaked out Naruto, Sakura, Shikamaru, Kiba, and Akamaru. Gaara, a being too strong can become an existence of fear. Born through jutsu, my spirit was unstable. It seems the idiots in the village finally realized that there was a problem. To my father, I was the village's trump card, but, at the same time I was also a very dangerous being. It seems that by the time I was 6, it was determined that I was too dangerous. As the village's dangerous tool, I was only being handled with care. To them I am simply an object from the past that they wish would disappear. Then why do I exist? Why am I alive? When I thought about this, I could find no answer, but as you live, you need a reason, otherwise, it's the same as being S. Shikamaru, what's he talking about? Naruto, I understand, he's the same as me. Gaara, I then came to this conclusion: I exist to kill every human I can. I finally found relief within the fear of death, of never knowing when someone would try and assassinate me. By continually killing the assassins, I understood the reason to continue living. Fighting for only myself, living while loving only myself, I believe that everyone else simply exists to allow me to experience that feeling. Nothing is better than that. As long as there are people in this world for me to kill and continue to feel that joy of living, my existence will not vanish. Shikamaru, what is this guy? This is really bad. Naruto, I was also alone, I couldn't find a reason to live and was in pain, but because the old man and Iruka-sensei acknowledged me, I finally experienced what it meant to be alive. Yet he continued to be alone, and experience what it means to live by killing others. Guys like this exist. Is there any way I could beat him? Shikamaru's shadow was beginning to weaken its hold on Gaara, who didn't waste any time trying to eliminate the compassion. In the nick of time, however, Guy walked into the room and put a halt on things. Guy, that's enough. The finals are tomorrow, don't be so hasty, or do you already want to check into this place starting today? Gaara fidgeted, stopping his assault. He gathered himself and walked out the door, but not before stating that he would definitely kill everyone in the room. Naruto had finally been cleared from the hospital a few days later. With only 3 days until the tournament, Naruto had to better prepare himself. He grabbed his clan scrolls that were given to him by the third Hokage and spent the next 2 days doing non-stop training. After extreme training that pushed his body far beyond its limits, Naruto decided to spend the rest of the final day taking it easy and taking in the sights. Because he was in the finals, he managed to score some free food throughout the day. With the day nearly over and no longer feeling as strained as before, he made his way home. When he got there though, he was too anxious to get any sleep. Seeing as he wouldn't get any, he headed to the roof of the Hokage Tower to look at the stars. As he laid there and the stars twinkled, he contemplated the next day's events throughout the night. The big day had finally arrived and spectators from all over were coming to the Leaf Village to see the finals of the Chunin exam. The stadium it was being held at was filled to capacity and all that remained was to get things started. Naruto gains a new SK, sort of, but can this really help him against his opponent? The finals begin and Naruto and Neji square off. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.